What's up, guys? Today we'll be talking about one of rap's most prevalent artists of today's time, J. Cole, and his sophomore album, Born Sinner. We'll be diving into this album and analyzing each song as a chapter in a book, looking at each one individually and how they all tie in together. Not really focusing on the artist himself, but purely the art. Without further ado, let's begin. The Illuminati. The story begins as a prologue, as he's thinking about the level of success that he's achieved and looking at the current situation that he is in the spotlight, conflicted with mixed emotions about how he split his time, dealing with problems back home, problems releasing his music, women he's dealing with, and the level of recognition he tries to share with the world with his craft. Thinking about how he got here and about the notoriety he may have achieved if he was able to share the more uncensored side of himself, he tries to joke through it and shares more personal aspects of himself, whether that be back home or how he is with his friends, and trying to get through all the political correctness as he tries to navigate the world he now finds himself in. Land of Snakes. He starts the day listening to old songs as he's cruising through the city that reminds him of back home. Now he's feeling like the man though, and he's thinking about how he finds it funny that many women who wouldn't even pay him any mind are now trying to rekindle relationships, as well as old acquaintances trying to reminisce about old times, trying to make it seem that they're closer than what they really are. Through this, he ends up stumbling across a woman he used to deal with back in college and that he actually played. This interaction makes him realize that even though time has passed and a lot has changed, the way that he's treated her hasn't been forgotten. And even though a lot has changed, perception and experience can stand the test of time for better or for worse. And that to some people, he's still the same man. Power trip. Through this interaction, he realizes even though he's reached a level of success most will never see, the fact that he's going around the city and acting like he's the man, he realizes that it's only there to really boost his ego. And this makes him really contemplate the actions that he's doing and starts to appreciate the relationships that he really does have, mainly the woman that he currently does have in his life and the music he decided to dedicate himself to. When he comes home, he tells her that he truly loves her and recalls staying up late nights trying to become a better version of himself, shares how the relationship has also helped him grow in many ways as well, and that is something that he doesn't want to throw away but wants to cherish. Mo Money. Because this is something that he does want to cherish, he realized that he can't put his foot on the brakes and go all gas. Now that he's on a certain level of success, he still needs more money to be able to provide for those who are in his life and still be able to have fun and enjoy the luxuries of everything that comes with his life. Trouble. Just like the famous saying, mo money, mo problems, as he's going about his everyday life as he travels the world and tours, the city and old problems that took grasp of himself and many of his friends still haunt him. The fact that his status is rising, he sees the dark side of that. To some people, he may become a target, and he still has to stay vigilant both mentally and physically, if not more than ever before, not wanting to fall back into the circle of violence or the level of complacency that he once has. But not only that, as he grows, his temptations from women surrounding him are also increases. He realizes how easy it will be to be unfaithful and that he could easily manage side chicks. But he has to fight that as well because he realizes how much he loves his relationships and wants to keep that in his life in comparison to some quick gratification. Runaway. He's not perfect and he knows it. He sits down and prays to God, looking at all his wrongdoing and flaws, praying that he'll be able to meet his expectations to be able to make it in the afterlife. From people that he knows who are running in the streets and doing wrong, to himself being unfaithful in his relationship. He begins to feel guilty and is all weighing on his conscience, thinking that if he can be a better person, and does he have the time to be able to find this improvement and evolve to a better version of himself? She knows. With all this weighing on his mind, he begins to suspect that his girl knows that he has been unfaithful, and now he's wondering why would she stay with a man like that, and is there something that he doesn't know about? Does he deserve her? So many thoughts are running through his mind, and all these wrongdoings are weighing on his brain to see will he end up ruining such a relationship that he's finally been able to manage to grasp for himself. Rich niggas. He begins to self-evaluate himself and those around him who've reached a similar level of financial success. Seeing that this is one of the biggest drives to improve his life, he also sees the downfalls in the way that allows him to jump off the deep end, looking at others and how they self-destruct, from anywhere from exploitation to self-indulgence. He prays that it won't change the man that he is, and that he one day won't become something that he now hates. Forbidden fruit. At this point of his life, he's looking at success and that he thinks he deserves to have the fruits of his labor, using the Bible, realizing that men have once fallen into temptation, and that now he has a chance to live and he can do what he wants. And over time, everything will be okay and all will be forgiven, instead of the mindset of wanting to improve. All things come and go to him. The only thing constant in history is time, so he might as well have a little more fun while he's here. Chaining day. Now he's on the high of the fast life, having more fun and not being so self-critical. But he realizes that many things that he does do isn't for himself, but for the approval of others. He went and bought a chain, he got new cars, he got a house, but he really doesn't care about those things for himself. When he's alone at home, he realizes that his self-confidence that he portrays to the outside world may not be as high and solid that it truly is. He looks himself in the mirror and calls himself pathetic. He's trying to act like he's better than anyone else. Ain't that some shit? Either way, the show must go on. So now he's back outside, showing the world his ego, putting on Front Street his accomplishments, such as being such a high-level artist and putting his city on the map. In this world, he thinks to himself, being humble won't help him grow, especially to reach the level of notoriety to being one of the best, undeniably best rappers in the world. So he continues the world and continues to self-indulge himself with the women and luxury he finds himself around. Crooked smile. He's having fun again, but with all these thoughts in his mind, he's also becoming self-conscious and self-critical in many of the things that he does. The words of his fans and the public are starting to get to him. They point out his flaws and many of the insecurities that he once had growing up that he hasn't thought about in a long time. And he starts to think, fuck it. I can't change these things, but look at all that I've done. I won't let this discredit me, so they can poke around and have some fun, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna reach my goals. At this point of the journey, he's becoming more self-confident in himself, but then he gets a call from his producer, saying that Nas heard some of his latest music and he's very disappointed in him. He said that he hates that he abandoned his lyricism, and this really affected him because Nas was one of his idols. Thinking about maybe if he only focused on his lyricism, would he become the artist that he is today? Does he understand that? Does he know that there's a game to this? Is there anything wrong for him trying to gain a new audience? Is it wrong to try and compromise himself just a little bit to satisfy not only himself, but those around him? He doesn't want to truly sacrifice the art, but he realizes that there's demands in such a competitive space. Born sinner. With everything going on from disappointing his idols, to tension through personal relationships, to struggles through self-confidence and realizing who he wants to be in the world, he realizes that he won't be perfect and that he can't please everybody. The only thing that he prays for is that everything that he does do is for a purpose. He concludes that as long as he puts everything that he has into what he does and will do in the future, everything will work out, and that's all he can plan for. And that was the album Born Sinner by J. Cole. I love this album because it highlights the highs and lows that many people have internally, and that is coming to self-realization and self-love, even through all your mistakes. If you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you. If you want me to cover another artist or another body of work, let me know in the comments. See you guys in the next one.